Welcome to the Maine Basketball Rankings podcast. I am your host, basketball data nerd Lucas McNally, and we got a couple new things for you today. One, as you can see, I got a new microphone because I was tired of the old microphone and it wasn't great. And this one was on sale. So, new microphone. We're trying it out right now. Showed up yesterday. We'll see how it goes. Also, today's show has a sponsor. It is brought to you by Vertical Rays. You know, your sports teams, they need money for helmets and cleats and shooting shirts and maybe someday a shot clock. Well, Vertical Rays allows you to raise more money in less time. Check the show notes for information on how you can start to elevate your fundraising to new heights with Vertical Rays. All right. Before we get started, make sure you're doing all the subscribing stuff, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. You can see we got the basketball backdrop, even though this is the football overreactions pod, because the basketball bulletin is out, and normally I'm the only person who cares about the basketball bulletin. But we have a big realignment, as you might have heard. We're back down to 4-ish classes. Everyone's moving around. No one remembers who's in their region. No one knows where they're playing in the tournament. So everybody this year is very interested in the basketball bulletin. Okay. So a couple things that we have now learned that were rumored and we thought they were going to probably happen, but you never know. And this bulletin is labeled as draft on the MPA's website, and this is coming straight from the MPA's website. So things could change. But here's where we are. It's enough of a draft that they uploaded it. They don't just upload the first draft, obviously. So first big thing is that Class S, if you don't remember, is the under 100 students class. That's your Vinyl Havens, your Shed, your Washburns, your Temples, Pine Tree, the small schools. They are going to play. They are not doing statewide. They are doing regions, north and south. They are going to start a week early. So they're going to have their first practice is going to be November 10th as opposed to November 17th for everybody else. Their first countable game will be November 28th as opposed to December 4th, like everyone else, which means more newsletters, which means more work for me. That's okay. So then their last countable game is going to be a couple days early. I had that in front of me. Yeah, there it is. Okay, the last countable game date for Class S is Tuesday, February 3rd. The last countable game day for A, B, C, and D is Thursday, February 5th. So small difference. Mostly they just need to have enough time to sort out the heel points and make sure Vinyl Haven remembers to report their scores and things like that. It's going to be a little bit of a scheduling difficulty, I guess, because for a week there, S is only going to be able to play S. And I guess those last 2 days will be to clean up any outstanding games that need to be finished. Because the S quarterfinals are going to start on February 10th. What's February 10th, you ask? February 10th is prelim day. For the girls, February 10th is prelim day. For the boys, February 11th is prelim day. So Class S is going to be doing their quarterfinals, I believe, at the higher seed during prelim week, which means more work it really doesn't affect you at all unless you're in Class S, but it affects mostly people like me and today's guest, Haley Jones of the Sun Journal, people who have to cover this. It's a little more, stretches them a little more thinly, but it also gives S a little bit of a time in the spotlight. And then Class S's semifinals will be February 17th. Their regional championships will be February 21st. That is the same day as the regional championships for everyone else. So they're going to those first couple days where everybody's in quarterfinals where S won't be playing. And then when you get to semifinals and the schedule opens up a little bit more, S will sort of come back in line with everyone else. So they'll finish at the same time as everybody else, but they'll start a week earlier. And people have already started complaining about this on social media because we can't have anything without people complaining about it on social media. So it's really simple. There aren't enough tournament sites. That's why AA has been playing for the last couple years, they're playing their quarterfinals at the higher seed because there's not enough time on the floors to do all of this during vacation week. So something has to give. And if you've got to think of this as a money-making venture, because this is the thing that funds lacrosse and the thing that funds soccer and the thing that funds field hockey, is giving up those tournaments dates of the double A, of the biggest schools, their quarterfinal games. Giving up those gates is a lot of money for the MPA. And if we're gonna get shot clocks, people, we got some money's got to come in the door somewhere. And this is one of the ways we do it. And also, like I said, it keeps other sports funded, because I don't think field hockey's making a lot of money. Yeah, so then the so if you remember how normally the first we have on that Friday, Friday, there's somebody has the solo tournament game, and it's usually B, but not always. But it's usually B, and then everybody else goes on Saturday. So this year, S and B, which does sound like a bank, will play at the Cross Center in Bangor on the 27th. That's Friday. Class C and D will be at the Civic Center in Augusta on the 28th, and Class A will be at the hockey rink in Portland, also on the 28th. Not sure how the timing of that's going to work out. I don't know if they'll stagger it. They could, in theory, stagger it, I guess, so that everybody's got the solo spotlight for the state championship game. That would be kind of cool. No idea if it would work, but it would be kind of cool. Yeah. So then the other thing is, where are we playing these tournament games? Okay. This is a little weird. Up in Bangor, you're going to have B North, C North, D North, and S North. That's the under 100. At the Civic Center in Augusta, you're going to have A North, C South, D South, and S South. That's the under 100s. Normally, those tournament sites would have 3 regions. Now they have 4, hence S going a week early. In Portland, you're going to have South A, or A South, and B South. Remember, there's no double A anymore. A South and B South at the Expo and the Cross Insurance Arena. So Augusta and Bangor are going to have 4 regions playing at one site. And in Portland, we're going to have 2 regions playing in 2 sites, which is weird. So I'm wondering if they're leaving some room here to flex something. Like, so you've got C South at the Civic Center. What if C South is, I don't know, let me look at the list, because I'm also not remembering where everybody is. Let's say C South is, you've got a game, it's Wells and Trape. Maybe you flex that to the Expo, maybe you flex a bunch of C South to the Expo. Maybe you flex D South, some of D South to the Expo. If it's, say, Old Orchard Beach versus NYA, maybe that goes to the Expo, and something like, a Halldale or a Halldale Winthrop, leave that in Augusta, because, I think I'm in play, and I'm speculating based on just conversations I've had with people. No one's told me that. So then why use the hockey rink, or why use the Expo? Well, I'm pretty sure the Expo is a better venue than the hockey rink. The hockey rink, the B South quarterfinals of the hockey rink would not be good. It wouldn't be a good atmosphere. And I'm wondering if the reason we don't have just everybody at the Expo is because that's Portland's home floor. And if Portland is indeed in a South, hey, look at that, they're back in the South, then you really can't have one team playing the tournament on their home floor for the whole tournament. Like, that's probably not going to fly with the other 15 teams in that region. So that might be why we have to go to the hockey rink. It's going to be a little tricky scheduling wise and bouncing around back and forth. And we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in the Expo. But again, this is a draft, so we'll see how that shakes up. I would say let's take D South to the Expo or something. Let's take, we don't even have to worry about Vinyl Haven with the ferry, because they're in S South, and that'll be in Augusta. Take D South, take Sea South, I would say take one of those or maybe parts of both of those to the expo. And then just, I know one of the concerns with that in the past has been, what if grandma drives to the Augusta Civic Center and the game's at the expo? And that's a mess because you do not want to anger a Maine high school basketball grandmother and get in the way of her watching her grandson play. Or worse, she doesn't even have a grandson on the team. She's just been going to these games for 95 years. And she will be damned if she is going to miss a playoff game. All right. So enough about that. Let's talk a little bit of football. I'm going to keep the backdrop, though, because I like the backdrop. Game of the week this week was by everyone's consensus. It was Thornton Academy, Portland, and wow, it was not. I went down to this. I sat in traffic at Red's Eats for a good 15 minutes, just not moving, and the game was shorter than that. Thornton Academy just dominated them, and Portland did not help themselves. They shanked up their first punt of the game, gave Thornton Academy a short field. Then they fumbled, gave them another short field. Went for it on fourth down, didn't make it. Another short field, and that was over. It was over. Connor Ayub was great in this game, but an absolute domination by Thornton Academy. So they are now got to be one of the, if not the front runner in A. But I think, it could still be Bonny Eagle. The model really likes Bonny Eagle. Really likes Bonny Eagle. They gave up 8 points to Oxford Hills, and that was pretty much more than double what they'd given up all year, I think. Something like that. It was close to it. They gave up 8 points, and their points allowed per game went up. So that gives you an idea of how good that defense has been. So really circling Bonny Eagle and Thornton Academy later in the year. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. Haley Jones is here to overreact to the slate from week 5. And without further ado, let's go to that conversation with her. Okay, my guest today, you know her from the Sun Journal. Haley Jones is here. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I did a little bit of research, and by a little bit of research, I went to your website. You are the first female sports writer in the history of the Sun Journal, or is it the history of the Maine Trust for whatever it is this week conglomeration?
As I was told when I started, I'm the first full-time female sports reporter in the state. That's what my editor told me. I know for sure at the Maine Trust, and I think there's some people that kind of dabble in sports, obviously, but first full-time, as I was told in the state.
Well, that's not true. I can tell you that.
So I was lied to.
Yeah, you were lied to, because the Lincoln County News, which is where I work, has Paula Roberts.
Yeah.
And she's been full-time forever.
Yeah. So go
maybe
Paula.
at a daily. That's a weekly, so maybe it's at a daily.
Right. This was a comment. Yeah, this was, and it was, I can't remember which editor told me, but it was like, oh, I think you're the first. So definitely don't take that as fact, but.
Okay. We'll put it on your Wikipedia and it'll be there forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Perfect. And then I think, and I haven't checked this because I don't know if this is an actual awards category, but I think you're the front runner for comeback sports writer of the year, since last year you broke your leg. And now you're back full time, but I don't know if that's a Maine Press Association award category.
Should be, because it was humbling.
We can work on it. We can talk to some people. I know a few people there, and we could see if that can get added.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to watching the skiing and not trying it myself, because that didn't end well. So
is it like you all healed up and everything?
For the most part, I'm still in physical therapy, but pretty much back to normal. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to do a little bit of your biography. You went to Occidental College in Los Angeles and studying. Let's see, I wrote it down. Diplomacy and world affairs. Did you look at the news? Because there's plenty of diplomacy and world affairs going on at the moment. Did you look at the news and go, you know what? That is too much diplomacy and world affairs. I'm out.
Yeah, no, I was always interested in journalism. Yeah, and I originally thought I was going to be like a BBC political correspondent or maybe work at an embassy. And then, I graduated and got out of the theoretical world, and I was like, what am I thinking? No. And I moved to
Yeah.
rural South Carolina. So
Okay. And then somehow you ended up in Maine.
I did. Yes.
Did you do were you sports writing in South Carolina and then just
No,
looking for the next job?
I was general assignment, so pretty much everything, but I was one of two reporters at the paper. It was a very small town. So I did like crime, I did school board, I did business, like
Oh,
everything,
school
but I never
board.
did sports because it was awful. I was very grateful for what I learned there, but there was one day where I went to a male maximum security prison, and they like took my phone, took my bag, and I think something like 35 inmates were getting baptized, and so I covered the baptism. And I kind of
Wow.
walked out and I was like, that was sick, but also like this is not a normal day at work.
No.
Maybe this was fun, but I'm out.
Yeah. Jeez, that's a weird
So
day.
sports is much more fun.
Much more chill.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time at maximum security prisons, unless you're writing about, I don't know, Mike Tyson or somebody.
Right. Yeah, this was in Kershaw, South Carolina, and there's some characters, but I got some
I
great stories from it, some lore, but yeah.
And then what is the Pointer Koch Media and Journalism Fellowship? Because it sounds very fancy.
Very fancy. It actually just ended because of funding issues, but the Pointer Institute is like this giant media conglomerate. They're kind of like a school for journalism. And they took a bunch of early career people and put us through a 10-month program with like people from bigger news orgs and people that had been in it forever. And it was like, I think 60, 20 somethings that got to go to a few conferences and learn about journalism. And the appeal was they would pay half your salary to alleviate the burden on your newsroom, since we know news
Oh,
so stretched thin. So
yeah.
because obviously they took my time, so they paid my newsroom, and I got to go on fun business trips and learn a lot.
That sounds very helpful.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
What's Did you have any good stories from those conferences? Like your
Ooh.
turnaround and they're like, oh my gosh, that's Tom Brokaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gosh, let me think. I remember fangirling over like some of the very niche people from Pointer. Actually, funny enough, our now executive editor at the Maine Trust for Local News is very good friends and former colleagues with my mentor there. So it was more like kind of niche, not famous people per se, but
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, I read her work all the time online. Like, oh, I love what she does. No one like super famous is coming to mind. But I did have like this mentor I did a few sessions with, and he was the like TV reporter in Buffalo, New York, that was the whistleblower on like a Catholic priest
Oh,
doing inappropriate stuff with like 200 kids.
sure.
So it was just kind of cool to like hear the work people had done. But I don't know if I like really met anyone that famous that would be reputable outside journalism.
And now you get to rub elbows with Mike Mandel. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah,
like
there you
famous
go.
people every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, so how are you liking being in Maine so far? You've survived a winter at least. I mean, it
I
nearly
have.
killed you, but
Let me tell you. Yeah, my first winter, I uh, decided to drive in freezing rain because I'd never heard of it. We don't have that down south because I'm from
yeah.
Georgia. And I was like, oh, the roads are empty. I have places to be. Quickly hit the guardrail. And I was like, I see why the roads are empty.
Hmm.
So that was like a new experience. But second winter, all was going well. And then let an ex boyfriend teach me how to ski, and the rest is history. So we
Is
had
that
some
why
good
he's the
time in the
ex-boyfriend?
OR. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we had an interesting winter, but I love it. I mean, like right now during foliage, it's like nothing. You always hear people say that, but then when you truly
Hmm.
experience it, like there's nothing like it.
I lived in Chattanooga for like a year and a half, and
Hmm.
it snowed like a half an inch, and this whole city shut down for 2 days. Like, people think I'm exaggerating, but it literally
Yeah.
shut down. I remember it was Thursday, and it had stopped snowing, and I was listening to the radio as I was driving around because nobody on the roads, and they had already canceled school for Friday. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you
Oh
guys
yeah.
doing? The roads are clear. It's fine.
Yeah. I remember it was 2014. We like called it Snowpocalypse. It couldn't have been, it was maybe an inch, but like my dad's had to sleep at his office. It looked like a scene from The Walking Dead, like people abandoning their cars on I-95. Like it was ridiculous. And I was out of school for 2 weeks. So, I mean, my friends and I loved it. And I
For
was, I think in middle school at the time, but it
for
was
two
great.
weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Wow. And now
crazy.
you're like, you guys are canceling this game, right? They're like, yeah, it's 3 inches.
Yeah,
You'll be
no, I mean,
fine.
I'm shoveling the driveway. I'm like, what is this? At what point do we cancel?
Yeah. It depends on where you are
So,
in the state. And it
yeah,
depends
it's
really
definitely an experience.
on how many open dates there are between the day and the end of the basketball season. Because if it's
Right.
December, cancel it. That we can get that in January
Right.
sometimes. If it's a week before the tournament, we're playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
20 inches, we'll make it happen.
Right. And like what might be dramatic to Portland is not going to be that dramatic to up north. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see the spread.
Yeah. What's been your first, like, other than the weather, your first, like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, I get it. This is Maine. I'm in Maine now. I like, was it going to LL Bean or something?
I did tear that up when I first moved here.
Sure.
Yeah, I think honestly, because I did go to college in LA, but still like you have to drive everywhere. The closest beach
Mm-hmm.
for us was Santa Monica, which was like still a 45-minute drive. So I think my first like true Maine moment was I was living in Portland, my first apartment, and like I could walk 10 minutes to like the East End beach. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
living in Maine. And like, the rocky beaches and like I could go down to the old port and see like the boats on the water and just how waterfront it was. Like, oh, this is like what everyone raves about.
People don't realize, people think that it's an overreaction of the driving in LA thing, but it's terrible.
It's so bad. Yeah, like not only are they slow, but then they like swerve and they're on their brake, and then also the traffic. Like it truly does
Mm-hmm.
live up to like how bad it is. So I love here that like the mileage is more than the minutes, and I can just absolutely cruise when I was anytime I have to go on a long drive. I'm like, this is beautiful.
Unless you have to go through Wiscasset. And then,
Yeah,
it's like being on the 405, but
yeah, it is. Is that the bridge like
one
right
lane.
by Red's Eats where you like
It's the
have to
Reds
go?
Eats traffic. Yeah.
It's so bad. Like I took my parents visited and I took them there and we were there for 2 hours. I was like, sorry
Yeah.
guys, didn't
Yeah.
know.
That's why nobody goes to Reds Eats that's a local, because they're all like,
Yeah.
oh, no, 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 no.
Absolutely not.
All right. So let's pivot to football. You had probably the best finish this
Yeah.
week. You had Wells and Leavitt, which was already an interesting game because Class
Right.
C, who knows what's going on in Class C. But like, tell people about the finish you got for that one.
Yeah. So I going into it, it was kind of cool because I love like when a team has like a theme night, like more than just a student section
Mm,
theme night. But this was their, and I'm forgetting the official name of it, but it's like this salute to veterans game.
okay.
So I had like all the pomp and circumstance before. So I get there and like my usual time, like well before, and they haven't even started warm ups yet. So I think talking to the guys on the Levitt sideline, they had maybe like 10 minutes to warm up by the time they'd finished all of the like recognizing each veteran in the crowd, doing songs and stuff. So kind
Is
of
this
going
at
into that,
Wells or at Levitt?
it was at Wells.
Okay.
And I know, I'm sure we'll get to it, but one of the former coaches had served as a commander and was a former Navy SEAL. So there was like extra,
Mm.
emphasis on the game. But so yeah, so the game itself, to preface, like this is my first season covering football, so I'm like always a ball of
Oh,
nerves when
really?
I get
Okay.
there. Yeah, and so when I first started at the office, I came October 2023, and that was in the middle of like the Noah Carpenter, Jason Egley Levitt run. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how I remember Levitt, is like that state championship powerhouse.
That's how they usually are.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's kind of been interesting just to kind of see like some of the guys that were freshmen those years now really stepping up. But I remember like it was kind of, I don't want to say a dull game. I mean, I know it's hard, but like there wasn't a ton happening. It was a lot of turnovers, a lot of like kind of waiting to see. And then I remember Wells had the first touchdown, and they had their new this season quarterback Noah McDonough in, and I can't remember what happened, but I know Kevin Bolduc ran the ball in and got a touchdown. And so I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. And then they went for
Mm-hmm.
two, missed. And then Levitt fired back. They win, got a touchdown, got the extra point. And so then it was like a 7-6 game going into halftime. And this might be a hot take, but I mean, I just love like a close game. I feel like that's a very
Oh, yeah.
freezing cold take, but
That's not the
I've
hottest take in the
covered,
world. No.
yeah, I've covered a lot of blowouts, and like I just much prefer this. It's like more interesting. Like as a sports fan, I love a close game, but then also as a reporter, I'm like constantly writing like, okay, who am I going to interview? What's the like lead
Mm-hmm.
going to be? So when it's that close, I'm like, I have like 7 different story versions at that point. But
But if it's a
so
blowout, you can
6,
do all that by halftime.
That's true, but then it's boring. And like,
That's
it's
boring,
boring
yeah.
to write, it's boring to read. Like and I'm not getting colorful quotes. It's like having to walk up to a coach after they just lost 57-0 and be like, and what were you most proud of? Like it's tough for everybody involved.
Yeah. Like, what should you do
Um
done differently? Like everything.
exactly, yeah. Which I did have that. I've had conversations like that this season. I'm like, okay, I'll go away now. But yeah, so then kind of came down to like the final set of plays. I know there had been like a couple back and forth turnovers on downs for both sides, and it was like Leavitt got really close, and then they turned over, and then Wells got really close, and then they turned over, and so it was like, and I still have my like stat sheet from that night, but it was like, okay, so Noah threw an incomplete pass, nothing happened. Throws it again, it gets intercepted by Leavitt, and I didn't catch the number that intercepted it, but someone intercepted it, and then they fumbled it. Then Wells recovers the fumble, and so I'm like, oh my god, okay, what's gonna happen? It's like I think there's at this point like less than a minute left in the game, and I'm kind of like, I hope I don't go to overtime. Like as much as I love an overtime, I got a story to write, and so they fumble it. Wells recovers it. Then two more incomplete passes. One gets flagged for pass interference, and then finally there's a complete pass, so they get down to like the 4-yard line. They're in obviously the. Do you call that the red zone? I
Red
never
zone,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, they're in the red zone. And so then Noah finds number 6, Colin Moody, at around the 4-yard line, throws him, and just like perfect run in right there. And there's like 19 seconds left in the game at this point. So they score. They're all going crazy. And like I'm on the Leavitt sideline at this point because I usually try to stand on whichever side has the chains. And like you just see everyone was like, oh no. Because I mean, it's what are you supposed to do with 19 seconds left?
Not a lot. Return the
Yeah.
kick.
And so then right, exactly. And so then Leavitt gets the ball and then threw and incomplete pass, and obviously that was game. But just like that coming down to the wire like that, like I'm biting my nails on the sideline. I don't know how they're feeling, but it was. I remember I was talking to one of the guys on the Leavitt sideline, one of the coaches, and he was like, "Oh, I think it's going to be a good game." And I was like, "Hopefully." And he kind of walked back over and he said, "Well, I was hoping it was going to be a good game for us, but it is a good game."
Yeah. Okay, I have an immediate question. You said you like to stand on the side with the chains. Why the side with the chains? Because I was at Thornton Academy, Portland, and I started on the side of the chains just because that's where I'd put my bag down. And then like 4 plays in, I was like, no, this isn't going to work. But partly might be there that and there were like 80 kids on the Thornton Academy side and only like 45 or something on the Portland side, and I'm like, I can't see anything over here. You get the chain guys here, it's a whole mess. And so I went over to the other side.
Yeah, I feel like when I cover football, I accept that like everyone's going to kind of be in the way. But like with the chain guys, Steve Craig at the Press Herald was teaching me about football, kind of how to do stat taking specifically, and he was like, yes, you have the chains in the way, but the ref will always stand in between the chains. He'll put his foot on the yard line of where the ball is starting because, we need it for, okay, they start at 46, they end at the 31. So he's like, you can always look at that ref and see where their foot is. And then that's how you know where they're starting in case, the ball's far down or people are in the way. So I always do that for my reference point just for stats because if I miss it, then I'm like, oh God, where are they? What's going on?
What's funny is Steve Craig also was at the Thornton Academy game and also abandoned the Thornton Academy side for the Portland side because there was too much going on over there.
Yeah. I mean, by the time there's 80 people, it's just going to be miserable, but it's like, you got to pick your battles, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at C because C, the consensus is this is a mess.
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask about C.
Yeah. So I grabbed the thing from Maine High School football from Andrew Hart's site. 10 teams get in.
Yep.
You have right now York at the 10 spot. So top 3 are Gardiner, Greeley, and Herman. They're all undefeated. And then you just have this mess of Wells to Brewer. And you could throw Madomic in there too at 2 and 3, where I feel like Madomic probably passes York unless York beats them this week. You may have what sort of heads or tails do you make of this? 6 get a bye.
Yeah, you're asking who I think is going to be in top 10. You're asking who I think is going to edge in.
I mean, like, what's your sense in general? So you've seen Leavitt, you've seen Wells. I'm thinking you've probably seen somebody else in here. Gardiner?
Yeah, I went to Gardiner's game against Oceanside, which, I mean, I famously love an underdog, so I'm not even counting out Oceanside and Hampton yet. Like, maybe they'll find their footing mid-season. I guess we're in mid-season, but...
York seems to have found their footing. They beat Brewer this week.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's hard. I know. Gosh, I mean,
It's such a mess.
I know.
I love it.
I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I haven't seen much of Old Town,
Hmm.
so I really can't like make an accurate assumption on them. But
I saw Old Town. They're feisty.
um, yeah. I feel like with a team like York, like when you get that first win after a while, like that kind of is the fire you need.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's going to be kind of a battle between York and Madomic. I genuinely feel kind of uneducated thus far on Class C just because it changed. I
Yeah.
mean, Gardiner, I feel like they're having a season maybe nobody expected, but just the undefeated streak, and Greeley as well. And Herman, I mean, I guess they're all undefeated, but yeah, I mean, I feel like
Herman's
it's,
been really good.
yeah. And didn't the Herman coach just get like his 50th win or something, or 100th or something crazy?
Something like that.
Yeah,
He got his 50th. The Madomic coach got his 50th.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Because they started, he might be past his 50th.
Right.
Something like
And I
that. Something
mean,
like that. He's very good. Very good coach.
yeah, right. And I don't have a Madomic roster in front of me, but I know they did fairly well in the tournament. And usually you see some carryover from basketball to football. So I
They
remember
do have some
interviewing a few of
basketball players,
them.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they
Uh,
have that
uh,
on their side.
Owen, I've seen Madomic twice, and Owen Dostie, who was one of the, I think he was a starter.
Yeah.
He's been playing receiver and safety, I think, and he's been good in
Hmm.
every game I saw. He had a pick against Leavitt at the end of the half where Leavitt tried to throw up a bomb with 2 seconds left in the half, and he almost ran it back,
Damn.
which
Yeah.
was fun. Um,
Right. I mean, you got to love those last second plays. That's always what makes it fun.
the trick with Madomic is, and I'm a Madomic guy, so I
Okay.
have a vested interest there. Their best player missed the first 4 games of the year, or maybe the first 3 games of the year, with
Mm,
a sliced up his hand, like right before the season started. So he missed those first 3 games, and he's been back, and they're slowly working him back in at running back.
right.
So
Right. I
they
mean,
they're the one. If I had to pick a team that's from the bottom 3, they're the obvious
hmm
choice to vault back
hmm
into it because they also their schedule gets easier. They have York and Oceanside, and then I think Nokomis is their last game
right. And I know, I think if I remember right, Levitt had some injuries out too. So, I mean, it's always
against
interesting
Wells.
to see you have Wells, yeah. You have
Hmm.
like those early season people out and then just how they change it kind of because we're in week 5 or week 6
Hmm.
now, like, everyone feels like they kind of have an idea of how everyone's going to play and then you get that one rogue player. It's kind of like fantasy, right? You all of a sudden
Yeah.
one of your tight ends is putting up 31 points. You're like, who? I thought you were on my bench. Like, what's going
Who's that
on?
guy? Yeah, yeah. And then
Oh,
and it's so short. It's only 8 games. And you're just all ready, going, oh my gosh, there's only 3 games left.
right. Yeah. No, I had that realization actually driving today. I was like, wow, like, I feel like I've done some game stories this season. And then I was like, wait, fall's almost over. Like, when did that
Hmm.
happen?
All right, let's get rid of this. All right. So the game I went to was Thornton Academy Portland, which was a bust, a complete and utter bust. I was in Red Seats. I mentioned this in the open, which I already recorded. I was in Red Seats traffic longer than this game was competitive. It was
Yeah.
Thornton. I thought it would be close, and Thornton Academy just absolutely dominated both sides of the
hmm
ball.
Yeah. It was
Right
a
here.
really tough week to have picked Portland in our weekly. That
Yeah,
was a tough go.
I picked it in Andrew Hart's thing, and it didn't go well. I
Yeah.
don't know how
Yeah.
well I did. So TA is 4-1 because they lost to a New Hampshire team. Have
hmm
you seen anyone in here? Because it's not really your cover.
Um,
Lewiston, maybe, right? Have you seen Lewiston?
Yeah, I haven't been to a Lewiston game. I am working on a story about Lewiston. I haven't
Oh,
finished it
okay.
though, so I won't say more. But I did
Don't
Edward
spoil
Little
it.
Oxford Hills. I know I'll
Okay.
keep it. I'll keep it. Surprise. Edward Little Oxford Hills, which was also equally a blowout.
Mm.
Oxford Hills winning, obviously, and then I shouldn't obviously. I went to Bangor Thornton Academy. I didn't cover it, but that was kind of Steve showing me the ropes of
Okay.
football. And
I
South
believe that was
Portland.
also a blowout.
That was as well. That was, and then I've done stories at Sanford, but I haven't actually seen a game. But I think they're 2 and 3 right now.
Hmm.
So I feel like Edward the Oxford Hills was the game I truly covered, and then just kind of hearing about these other teams, and I covered some of the state games last year. So you got the
Yep.
when Cordell Jones was a receiver, and now he's QB, and definitely familiar with a lot of these guys.
They were very ready for that. Thornton Academy
Yeah.
was like they gave him no space. He couldn't get out in space at all. Couldn't get anything going. He had a fumble in the first quarter that set up a touchdown, and it was
Hmm.
just they. At one point, I said to Michael Hoffer, I was like, "Have they cleared the 40-yard line yet? Their own 40-yard line?" And he's like, "This is like in the third quarter." And he's like, I don't think they have, but they had been to
Yeah.
the 42 apparently. He looked it up, and that's how it was going for them. My question here is, if you look at the points allowed, Bonny Eagle's given up
Hmm.
20 points.
Right. I mean,
That's
that's,
nuts.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, I mean, I hope this isn't offensive to Bonnie Eagle, but they're kind of a team, like a school, maybe I forget that exists. And then it's
Hmm.
usually football season. I'm like, wait, Bonnie Eagle is really good.
Yeah,
And
I
just, I
think
mean,
people are
even looking
sleeping
at
on
this,
them.
yeah, they're far, far away doing better than everyone else. So, I mean, they're always kind of like, I love an underdog, and they're always like, wait a minute, Bonnie Eagle, like, they're really, especially
They have
against
a
a lot of
really
their
good
Central Maine
program.
teams. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Do you have? So I just want to hit A little bit because I know your
Hmm.
coverage area also hits B. So here's
Yep.
I'm going to ask you the Rob Kennedy question. What do you think the likelihood of Cony and Gardiner being 7-0 when they play each other on the final game of the season? Cony is just crushing it.
Yep. They are. They are. Are you asking who I think is going to win?
No, I'm just like the likelihood of let's say could they get to 7-0 each,
Mm.
and then how absolutely bonkers will that game be if they do
I mean,
play each other at
insane.
7-0?
Yeah, absolutely insane. I think it's likely. I mean, I kind of have extreme respect for all these schools because I was actually looking through this before we started, and besides Class A North and then 8 man, every top team is undefeated, and
Mm-hmm.
just to go 5 games undefeated alone is crazy. But I mean, I kind of feel like once you've started that train, it's going to be interesting to see who would derail it because I think they've both had a particularly tough schedule thus far and like have played
Yeah.
some pretty competitive teams and they've held their own. So I think a 7-0 dual matchup is very likely, but I mean, I don't know. I love the story behind it. I kind of feel like with everything with John Wolfgram, Gardner's playing for him in a way, given he used to
Mm-hmm.
coach there. So I kind of feel like, when I went to that Oceanside game with them, they were all very hype on like this season's for him. And so I love a backstory. So I would probably go Gardner if we had that matchup.
If that comes around, who has
Mhm.
dibs on covering that game? Like, do you have a fight for it? Is it like a
Well,
rock paper scissors thing? Like, is there bribery involved?
like maybe 6 or so months ago, I would have said, "Oh, Mandel or David Dyer," because
Mm-hmm.
that's really their area. But we're all really kind of poking around in each other's territories now. I'm covering a
Yeah.
lot of schools that I've never been to, so it could be anyone's game. I think it still would be hard to pry it from Mandel. I think he's probably got that on lock. But I mean, I love a competitive game. Like maybe I'll throw my hat in. I have no stake in this, but
Yeah.
like sure, send me there.
You're like, I could like we could double team it. Like I could do the one
Absolutely,
sideline,
yeah.
he could do the other sideline.
Exactly. He does, stats. I do video. Throw me in
That's
wherever. So
that's perfect. Yeah. So who
yeah.
else? Who else have you seen in here? Have you seen? I'm trying to think of your coverage area. Have you seen
Mount
Lawrence?
Blue's in our area. I haven't
Mount
seen
Blue.
them yet. Um, yeah, I haven't seen any of these guys in person
Okay.
so far this season, but um, yeah, I think it was the Marsh. Was it Marshwood Chevrolet where they won like 23-21? There was one game
Um.
where Marshwood
Yeah,
played
something like
somebody and
that.
they won 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so I'm always surprised by them. They're kind of my Bonnie Eagle of Class B, where I'm like, wait a minute.
They
Um,
also lost to Noble this week. They were up 21 nothing and they lost 35
yes.
to 27. So they've been in some games.
Right, right. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, no, none of these guys in person, but yeah. No, it's competitive for sure.
Taking a quick break from the show to tell you why you should subscribe to MaineBasketballRankings.com. Yes, it's an ad for the website on the podcast, hosted on the website, and you'll get over it. So at MaineBasketballRankings.com for $6 a month, you get rankings that are very good and they hate your team without question, but it's all sorts of fun information about your team, about their strength of schedule, how they're scoring offense ranks, they're scoring defense, lots of things like that. You also get heal points, which you can read, because have you seen the other options for heal points? It's a disaster. You can read these, you can see that your schedule coming up, be like, oh, that team's not worth a lot of points. Oh, this team's worth a lot of points. This is the game we have to win. You also get a spread for every game on the schedule. Hey, we're only favored by 2.5 points tonight. That's ridiculous. Are you kidding me? We're 1.5 point underdogs. That's crazy. And then maybe you're wondering why your coach is coaching so hard, down 15 in the fourth quarter. Well, it's because he's a 13.5 point underdog, and it doesn't matter, but he wants to beat the spread because we always want to beat the spread no matter who we are. So that's mainbasketballrankings.com, $6 a month, or for the free version, you can get a daily newsletter during the season. Now, back to the show. I should mention, because I'll get yelled at if I don't, that Falmouth has come off the mat. They were 1-2, and they've won 2 straight in dominating fashion. So we were 2 weeks ago with Mark Calden. We were wondering, Jesus, Falmouth going to make the playoffs, and they seem to have that locked down now.
Right, and they went on that run last year, and then obviously, I don't know how many of the lacrosse guys are on football, but they had that really tough state loss. So it was kind of like, I feel like our 2 schools we kept hearing about was Falmouth, Wyndham, just championship after championship.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see. I know, I think I was listening to one of your other episodes where it was like Spencer Emerson had his first loss with them.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes it takes a few tough losses to really build you up, but I love an underdog, as I've said.
I don't know if you know the backstory of that program, where they had a longtime coach and the players revolted, and they're like, we're not playing for this guy anymore. And so he resigned, and then the season was an absolute unmitigated disaster, and they brought in Spencer Emerson, and he just went undefeated and won the state championship.
Right. They're like, wait a minute, that actually really worked.
Yeah. And then they won the basketball state championship. And I was telling him at the tournament, I was like, I think you're just good luck, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know he came from U Chicago, I want to say, but pretty competitive, small D3 program. So it's always interesting too, when they move from the college level down to high school. It's like, I'm always intrigued, like, why maybe people would see that as a step down, but it's like some of these Maine high schools are more competitive than some of the small colleges. So it's like, what skills are they bringing? And it's cool to see some of the resources they bring in too.
I mean, if you're like the wide receivers coach at Colby or whatever, and then you have the choice to move to like a pretty well-financed, let's say, school in Falmouth and be the head coach. I mean, I don't know if that's a step down. That's at least a lateral move, I would think, depending really on your priorities and life stuff and what do you want to do and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that new Thornton Academy weight room on Instagram, and that's nicer than any facility I ever had at the college level. So I'm like, you know what? Hey.
I mean, Dexter's going to have to win the $1 million to rival that.
I know. I keep voting for them. I'm hoping they do. I've been seeing all the stuff about that, but it's
not
just
looking great.
It's insane.
It's insane. I mean, they're still going to get 25,000, so that'll go not very far, but it'll help, Right. And then they'll need to raise more. And this is where I mentioned, you don't know this because I don't have the logo up as we're recording, but Vertical Raise is sponsoring this podcast, and so that's if they don't win the $1 million, go talk to Vertical Raise, and I don't know if they can help you raise $1 million, but
hey,
some number,
we're trying,
some number also, below that.
Yeah, we know construction costs are ridiculous, but I recently learned how much it costs to like lay a turf field. Why is it $2 million? It's unreal.
$2 million?
It's at least in Georgia. I know we had like my high school, it was like a capital funding campaign or something. And I was like, oh yeah, we were raising money for the turf field. And somebody was like, yeah, just to lay the pellets in the grass alone, it's close to $2 million. So
wow. I wonder how much that Greeley field cost, because Greeley's got a new field that's really nice.
Yeah, something outrageous. So, wow. And I know in our area, like Lewiston has that beautiful field. EL just did all those renovations. I can only imagine what that cost. So
the turf at Fitzy's a lot nicer now. After Hearts of Pine
and the press
fixed it up,
they got the fancy. Yeah, it's good stuff.
They got a glow up there, and yet people are mad.
And of course, yeah. I mean, I don't have the stake. I didn't go to Portland High School, but I think somebody wrote it like an opinions column about erasure of being an alumni and taking away your logo. I don't know if I feel passionately about my high school logo, but
Yeah. It's
to each
still on
their
the
own.
scoreboard. It still says home of
Right.
Portland Bulldogs on the scoreboard.
Right, exactly. They're still there. It's still near the campus. I
You
mean,
could spray paint it. They do that at games. You could spray paint the
exactly.
logo on it. It's been done.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's that deep, but I
People
didn't go
people
there,
just
so
people just want to be mad about things. That's all it
right.
is. That's what I've learned doing this is that
Mhm.
like almost every episode somebody finds something to be mad about and I'm just whatever, dude. Okay, you
Yeah,
just go be you and I'm going to just ignore you.
exactly. You know you're doing something right when you get your first hate email. You're like, "Ooh, okay, that hit with a crowd. I'm doing my job right."
Have you gotten any memorable hate emails that you
Yes.
would
And
be able to share?
yeah, I have a folder on my desktop, like it's called work stuff, and then I save a little folder called like when you hate your job, and it's all the like nice kudos I've gotten. Because if it's ever a
Mhm.
particularly hard day, I need to kind of scroll through that.
Sure.
But I don't know if I've gotten any super memorable Maine hate mail. Maybe I'm not doing it right yet, but
Yeah. You
I
got to piss
do.
some people off.
Right. I mean, I guess there was some general like comments towards media. During the whole Lisbon hazing scandal. I was
Sure.
kind of in the trenches working on that, and I think we kind of all parachuted in.
You did a nice
Nothing,
job on that, by the way.
thank you. Nothing personal came my way with that. Besides just a few people like, no, I don't want to talk. Go away.
Mhm.
But I do remember specifically, I did this like expose on the school board in South Carolina, and I got some like 85-year-old in my inbox like, "You are a lazy journalist. You never do your research. How dare you? You have these thoughts." I'm like, dude, I just spent 7 hours at a meeting. I'm making $14 an hour. Like, I just don't have time for you. Like, go back to like your recliner. It's like I don't have the energy to deal with you. So
Yeah.
I always think about him. I won't name drop him in case he ever finds me, but he like it was like paragraph after paragraph, just like ripping me to shreds. And I laughed. I was like, I actually like this made my day. Like I'm honored that you took the time to not only like get past the paywall, but then send
Mhm.
hate mail. That takes
Yeah.
dedication.
And if you're really doing an expose, that people don't understand how much work that is
Yeah.
because your editor's not going to let you just wing it
Right.
and be like, yeah, I heard this guy's a jerk. So I'm going to write
Right.
bad things about him because they're going to make sure that's buttoned up.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I think I've done one of those and it took a long time. It took months. And it
Yeah.
was just like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. I'm just going
Yeah.
to do a
And like
podcast where I can just talk.
right. And nobody talks about it, but it's like, you write it, it gets edited, and then you're not done once it publishes. I'm like sweating, I'm pacing my house, I'm waiting for the
Mhm.
Facebook comments to come in. And, at some point you got to know your work was good, but you're also like, we also deal with the reception of stuff. And, at Lisbon specifically, it was not untrue what was written, but then, we finished this and then I got to go stand at the cheerleading sideline or I got to go like walk right back in and kind of,
Mhm.
if there had been something unfavorable written that happened, I got to be like, hey, how are you, and just kind of get past. So
And you've got to worry that you missed something too, and that like a shoe is gonna drop, and you're like you did the work, and you buttoned it up really really well, but
right,
you're never 100% sure about
right,
that. Someone could have lied to you,
totally.
whatever. But yeah, I know the thing you're talking about because I'll like do a podcast or I'll do a newsletter or whatever, and then I'll walk into a gym and I'll be like, oh, there's the guy I just said something negative about
Right, yeah. And
right
it's like
over
you're like
there.
looking to like, do I talk to them, or do they hate me? Like I am human too, so
Yeah. Yeah. And I think once you've the first couple times people are like, oh, they've got an axe to grind. And then that, at least for me, I found it kind of goes away
yeah.
because you've come down negative on almost everybody eventually and said something
Hmm.
positive about everybody eventually. And then people just go, okay, well, they're just doing a thing. And
Right.
they're just being as truthful or as honest or as fair as they can be. And then I think people get to the point where they go, you know what? They're covering us and they're talking about us, and that's the most important thing.
Right. And I think what's really cool too about Maine specifically and like the Maine sports world is I've only ever had an interview at post game turned down once.
Oh,
And I mean,
really?
I've covered hundreds of games. Yeah, and I won't say who it was. And it wasn't even like it was a regular season game. I think, whether they had a busy schedule or they just weren't feeling it. That was the only time I ever had to write like decline to comment. But like win or lose, even some of these coaches that like get absolutely just blown off, just such a bad game, they're still like waiting for the media to like talk to us and like give us an honest, fair interview. And just so nice, like just seeing people actually still like, okay, I might not like what you write about me. I might not have liked how this game went, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time. And it's kind of this like indebted gratitude that goes both ways. Like, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to us, but then also you're setting aside the time. You're sitting to like, you're waiting to talk to me. Like, you probably want to go home after losing 76-0, but you're going to stay.
Probably want to go to the bar after
right,
losing
exactly,
76-0.
And I'm walking up and I'm saying, and how did that make you feel? Like, I'm your therapist. So, it's a two-way street, but it's very nice here. Just the reception that people have to like, people that show up to games time and time again. And also, while I'm on this rant, I am shocked every time how the bleachers are absolutely full for like a regular season game. Like, people in Maine go hard for high school sports, and I didn't really appreciate that until I started working in it.
Yeah, I think part of it is because we don't have professional sports, or at least, it's Boston's kind of far. And we didn't, but look how much people are showing up for Hearts of Pine.
It's unreal. I mean,
and how well the Sea Dogs draw.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's really cool to see. And I can only imagine like being a senior guy that's like the quarterback, like just the amount of riz you have in your community. But it's just like, it's so cool to see like how invested everybody is. And, you talk to anybody and they can reflect on the time like they were on this team. And it's like a really cool thing to see and kind of unique to Maine.
And you haven't been to basketball games in Aroostook County yet.
I can only imagine.
If you want to see some people who are crazy. Like, have you been to any of the Caribou games when they've come down for the States?
No, I've never seen them.
Those people are insane.
Yeah.
And I have said this on multiple podcasts, and they have reminded me of it multiple times, but they're always very cool about it. They're always like, yeah, man, we are insane. Yeah. They own
and
it.
I love that. Owning it, yeah, I absolutely love that. I mean, I remember it was like last year, the Madeline Dupre, like final 4 seconds foul line shot. Hearing about that even was just everyone freaking out. And then it's got to be so fun to play high school sports here.
Well, what happened with that is the play happened and then the game was over and I was walking somewhere, just walking around, getting up to walk around. And one of the MPA guys goes, "Did you get video of the last free throw?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I think she went over the line." And so I brought it up and I'm like, "You're right. She's over the line." And so then I, of course, put it on social media because that's what you have to do there. And then then it blew up and people started arguing about it left and right. But it was an MPA person who was like, "I know who I can ask who will stir the pot here."
Right. And you stirred that pot.
Kick the hornet's nest, because I'll gladly kick the hornet's nest on that.
Right.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, I think I was like 2 days out of surgery when this game happened, but I remember hearing about just the drama. And my primary care doctor went to Caribou and played basketball. And I remember like 6 months later, I'm in for my physical, and she's like, "Can you believe that game?" And I was like, "Girl, I know."
I had the Biddeford coach on after it, and she like, to your point of what you were talking about, she was very good at showing up on a long form podcast, which she absolutely did not have to do, and talk about the game and talk about that play and talk about her emotions going through that in real time and then second guessing herself. And I was really impressed with her for doing that.
Yeah. I mean, everyone loves to interview, the most talented players, the winners, but I don't want to call them losers, but the people that lose, the people that have those blowout losses, those are my favorite interviews. Or like, the people that were secondary to the biggest play, because those are always like the most well-spoken, the most thoughtful interviews. So that's always what I prefer.
I always like the story when the team, because when the team breaks the long losing streak, I always like that because I've been on some teams with some losing streaks. And like the Wiscasset girls, when they broke their like 8-year losing streak, and Mick LaBelle for Lincoln County News just happened to think, you know what, I'm going to go on the ferry with them to North Haven because I think that'll be a cool story. We have to go on a ferry to go to a basketball game, and that was the game they won. and he like he didn't completely luck out because I was talking to him before, and he's like, I think maybe they have a chance here.
Yeah.
This could be competitive, and then they won the game. And he got a great story out of it.
Hey, and you know what? I'm here for Mount View's redemption arc. The day that Mount View just blows the roof off somebody, I am there at that game.
Well, we had that last year with Belfast, and
Yeah.
Belfast beating Oceanside after the whole thing where Oceanside blew them out, and the video
Mhm.
from that was just nuts. Like people were losing their minds. You'd think they'd won the state championship game.
It's unreal. Yeah. I mean, I just can't imagine too, not football, but Edward Little volleyball kind of, I covered some of their games and I know they just became a program and they kept losing. And I think they were like 0-14 and then just seeing them go. I don't know their record now, but just like winning game after game. It's like, it's so fun to
Nice.
be with a team that like finds their footing. And I mean, you see that in so many sports. It's so fun.
I've been going to volleyball games because Madomic has a new program, and my niece is one of
Hmm.
the starters. And well, I don't know if she's a starter. They do the thing where they have the person with the different color jersey, and so
Libero. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my niece is on the floor with the starters, and is announced as a starter, and then she immediately comes out for the person in the other jersey, and then rotates back in at some point. So I think she's probably a starter. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's been fun to watch them, like the improvement they've made over the course of the year has been really impressive. And
Yeah.
like they had a game against MDI where it looked like in the first set that they were going to get destroyed, and it was competitive at the end. And some of those girls hit the ball really, really hard. And
Yeah.
I would
I
want no
mean,
part of that.
I feel that way about several sports, like watching the line of scrimmage in football and just thinking, like, I obviously never played football, thinking about somebody
Hmm.
coming at you full throttle, just absolutely decking you. No, no, thank you.
The
And then, like,
sounds.
volleyball, yeah, there's so many times where I'm like cringing on the sideline and they just get up and, walk away. And I literally can't imagine going through that. Same with volleyball, the liberos just absolutely diving to the ground and just,
Hmm.
I mean, mad respect, but that just seems absolutely awful to me.
There's 5 or 6 football plays a game where I'm like, no, I'd be done for a week. I would never get
Right?
up again. They would just bury me there. They would just stick a cross in the ground right here, and I'd be done. Just
Literally,
completely
or
done.
you see like somebody tackling kind of more head than body, and you're like, oh my god, they're definitely gonna go down. Or somebody's clutching their knee, and they're like, oh, it's just a cramp, and I'm like, it just every time I'm like, oh, I'm expecting to see bones. I'm not ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to D, because I know you've seen some D schools
Yep.
here. Um, have you seen Winthrop? Right, because Winthrop is really good.
Yes. Haven't seen them yet this season. I haven't covered
Okay,
them. Past years I have.
they've also
Okay,
only given
so
up 20 something points,
yeah, no,
along with Bonny
unreal.
Eagle.
I mean, just the depth they have on that team, and just it's unreal. And what Joel's done there, it's just crazy. And I mean, I feel like the craziest kind of, I don't know how recent this is, but there you go, Hudson Lufkin being out with an injury. I know I heard rumors possibly ACL, and obviously having just done
Ooh,
that, that's a long recovery. So
yeah.
he's a competitive wrestler. That he's just, I remember interviewing Josh Newhall when he first started. He's like, I'm so excited to get to coach Hudson Lufkin. And just, you absolutely hate to see that. I know he's not a senior, so he'll have that time to come back, but that's just a really tough go of it this kind of early in the season.
Hmm.
And I've done some stuff with Oak Hill. I haven't covered a game yet. I know when they played Morse, I know they completely blew out Morse.
Yeah.
But obviously there too, kind of looking at the bigger picture, getting to kind of dedicate this season to Isaac Graham, who passed away. I remember one of the few games I covered last season was the Oak Hill, I'm forgetting, it was at Freeport, and I think it was a regional final. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like he had the game winning catch and I got to interview him. So that was kind of a full, like, I
Oh,
know
cool.
someone was on your podcast talking about when it's like bigger than just the game itself. And that's kind of a cool
Hmm.
moment, but they kind of have that story to play for. Poland, I know, has been doing pretty well. They have David Martin, I want to say his name is. That's really, really good. And then, I mean, Lisbon, I love a redemption.
Yeah.
I love an arc. We're 0-5, but that doesn't mean we're done. So I think, Walter
I
Polkey can really
I asked
get
in
in
the
there at some point.
preseason if Lisbon could pull a Falmouth, and that take has aged poorly.
And you know
Not
what?
gone well.
We can't all be winners.
Yeah.
What they don't lack there is passion. And you know, it might not be their year. They're not done yet. Same with Mountain Valley. I know Pat Mooney's a very good coach. So again, you know, you're 0-5. That doesn't mean you're done. You still
They
got some
almost beat
games to
Oak Hill
go.
last week.
Exactly. See? Yeah, they're still kicking. And let's see who else have we got. Let's see in North. I mean, John Baps. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where John Baps is, and that might be bad on me. But it sounds like Northern.
Bangorish.
Bangor area. Okay.
They
Yeah.
play their home games at the Cross Insurance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like I always hear of them with volleyball. Not as much football, but obviously being 5-0 is huge.
Their girls soccer team is really good too.
Yes. Yeah.
Or maybe it was their boys soccer team. No, it was their boys
Right.
soccer team won the region last year.
Right. Yeah. I do remember this. Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, they played Winslow.
I'm definitely more familiar
them.
with South. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then do you guys have Maranacook in your region?
They're more central Maine, so I've covered them in some stuff. I haven't really touched them with football yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. I mean, I know them from lacrosse more so than football.
Sure. And they have a very good basketball program.
They do. That they do.
Very good. They have a very good coach.
Yep.
How much? Here's a question, because you've coming in from away. How tricky is it to pick up the history stuff? Like Maranacook's coach is Travis Magnuson, who is one of, you know, on everybody's short list of best high school basketball players from Maine. And like, so you're coming in as just this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, people have to sort of explain all this stuff to you.
Right.
Is there a thing where people are explaining it to you, or they're like, oh, right, you don't know, or they just assume you're going to know? Because obviously you would know Travis it was great at Georges Valley. How would you not know that?
Right. And I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. It's interesting.
I don't even know what Georges Valley is.
Yeah.
That's not even school anymore.
Yeah. It's you definitely have to do your research extra. I think I kind of come into stuff like with an idea, and I'm not always afraid to ask, just because, I mean, I think people are very receptive to questions, and, you know, I will find out something from an interview and I'll be like, wait, what was that name? And then I'll spell it out, and then I can go look it up after. So
you're like, Cindy what? Cindy Blodgett?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who
you know,
is that?
I think I'm enough into it that I'm starting to find some familiar footing. I think my biggest thing is just, why does Maine have so many awards? Like, I don't know, like, you got Mr. and Miss Maine basketball, Mr. and Miss Maine field hockey, and it's just like, how many freaking awards are there?
I think everybody does that.
Not in Georgia, we don't.
Oh, you don't? All right.
No. So it's that's been interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think just like doing your research before the game, you know, sometimes it is nice to come in with a fresh perspective, because, you know, I'm not going to write the same story that everyone else has written or that other people have written, just because I don't always have that knowledge. But, you know, I talked to some of the guys on our team that have been here 30, 40 years, and just, it's like a word vomit of like every record. And then, you know, they'll be like, oh my God, remember that state game in 1987? I'm like, no, I wasn't born. Like, what are you talking about? So there's definitely moments where I'm like, oh, okay, this is like, I gotta really do my research here.
There's the shorthand of it where you're like, what's going on? And like, someone will probably be like, you remember the 5 overtime game? And everyone's like, oh yeah, the 5 overtime game. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And you're like, a game went to 5 overtimes. Okay. Great. Right. Good for everybody.
You know,
that sounds long.
It was easier before the MPA updated their website. And I know they kind of did that right as we're doing our previews. We're like, where did all the historical data go? And it's kind of slowly working its way back. But
there's a site for basketball. There's the Frank Spanky site. Have you found? Has anyone told you about that?
I've heard of it. I've never used it.
It's got like the heel points back to like the 40s. Beautiful. And stuff. It's got all this archives and like 1,000-point scorers and stuff like that. So you don't want to Google it on a work computer, because bad things could happen. But that's how you have to find it.
For how hard people like remember stuff and just ride for me, and I'm like, there's got to be like some old dusty binder in someone's like athletic locker room, like they can be like, oh yeah, I have everything from like 1800. So I was like, it's got to be out there somewhere. But there's, you know, me in the digital age, I was like, where is the MPA site?
That's the Frank Spanky site. He's got like tourney results, like every tournament game ever played, I think he's got on there.
Right. And yeah, and the Maine
So,
high school football page is beautiful. I'm always on there.
yep.
So
Andrew
you
does a
definitely, you
fantastic
got people
job.
that have backed it up. But when everything I know got kind of moved, I was like, oh God, oh, we're entering
Yeah.
season blind.
The new site has been an adventure.
It has. And I'm intrigued how we're naming categories and when we're changing them, why we're changing them. Because it'll be one name one week and then it moves. I'm like, where are we going? What's happening?
Yeah.
So
I found a thing Sunday or Saturday where you can create custom filters of scores. And so, like, if for a coach, you could say, show me all of the scores of boys B South.
right.
And it will just have all those teams in boys B South, and it'll have every score involving those teams will be right there. And
That's
that I
unreal.
found was super helpful because I was having trouble finding older games, and as opposed to just going to each school and looking at their schedule and
Right.
be like, oh my gosh, this is taking
Right.
forever. So now I have a filter: all boys soccer, all girls soccer, all field hockey, and then I can just
Yeah.
hit that and scroll through it and be like, okay, here we go.
Right.
So
See, that's
that's
better
been
than me. I
helpful.
can't even tell you like how many times I've printed out the heel point pages. Like my poor printer, but it's like I'll just have
Oh, that heel point
stacks of
page
them,
is
and then it's a process. But it's yeah. I love when you like discover a new feature. Like, wait, that makes my job so much easier.
so. Not to talk out of school, but I think you signed up for my site today.
Yes,
Have
I
you looked
did.
at
I subscribed.
that heel point page yet?
No, I haven't dug in. I was like, ooh, I should probably subscribe to the podcast that I'm going to go to. So I hit you. I hit Michael Hoffer's page and did all my
Nice.
subscriptions. But no, I haven't. I haven't had the chance to dig around yet today.
It's a much better experience, and I
Beautiful.
don't say that in boasting, and that's just a factual statement. But
Right.
it's
Hey.
much more helpful to see a team at a glance and a region at a
Yeah.
glance, and it's much faster.
Right.
So,
And I love that.
so
And that's why I'm
you
subscribing. So
you
you
won't
got
have
a
to print
fan.
as much stuff out, is what I'm saying.
Beautiful.
You can just have it on your phone and look at it really quickly and be like, oh,
Right.
okay, they've got these games coming up. Great.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
let's move to 8-man. We'll do 8-man real quick, and then I'll let you go because
Yep.
it's late. It's like 10:30. All right, 8-man large.
Yes.
So Camden Hills seems to be running away with the
Yep.
North.
Yep.
I saw them. They had a really great game against Mount Ararat where they were down at the half and then came back. I'm guessing, seen Spruce and Lake Region are in your region, right? Or your
Yeah.
coverage area. So there only four teams are
Mhm.
getting in here on each side.
Right.
So
So I was
G
supposed to
and
go to the Yarmouth G&G game because G&G is our area
oh, is it?
last
Okay.
week. Yeah, G&G's our area. I think we kind of dabble SA and Press Herald, but
Okay.
show up Thursday at the stadium. They were going to play Yarmouth. I was like, all right, this will be my 8-man preview of the season because I didn't actually get to 8-man until championships last year.
Mm.
But I'm there and I'm standing there with our photographer, and I was like, there's no football game. And then I go on their Instagram, and naturally it got moved to Friday, which fine, whatever. But so I didn't get to see them. We've got a Mount Ararat guy on our squad, so he usually is at those games. But yeah, Spruce is our region. G&G. I think that's it on there. Lake
So
Region's Press Herald.
okay.
Yeah,
So
so I
one
mean,
of those teams is not going to the tournament because
are
only
you talking
four
about?
get in.
Yep. Oh, it's both sides. Yeah. And North. Oh gosh. I mean,
I probably feel like Waterville's out.
probably Waterville, but again, as I've said
You know,
tonight, the 0-5s, they might find a resurgence. They might have that
you never know.
moment where, they lose. I don't know if it's bad juju for them to say that somebody might have the yips, but maybe they lose the yips and they get a run.
Hey, turnovers happen. It's football. The ball
Turnovers
bounces weird.
happen. Exactly. So yeah, I would say probably Waterville in the north, just records speaking alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the south, I know I think G&G's got some talented guys. I know somebody on your podcast said they could see Lake Region as the champion. I'd be intrigued by that. I think that might
I
have been
think that was
Mandel.
Ryan McLaughlin.
Ryan McLaughlin, yeah. Which I mean, I love that too. Yeah, I don't know. I think I could kind of see definitely Cape not quite making it in, and it's going to be a toss up for me between Spruce and G&G. So I think Lake Region's kind of finding their way, and it's hard for me to say between Spruce and G&G, but I think it will come down between the two of them.
And Yarmouth is going to have a test. They get Trape. They have to go to Trape this week after
Right.
Trape's 86-0.
which is unreal. Can you
crime
imagine?
against humanity, apparently. Which
And who was that against?
Mount View.
Which, okay. Yeah, I mean, still, I would be shaking in my boots on that line of scrimmage, just having to line up against him. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I just love when people get mad about the blowout scores, because
Right.
it's great content and it's great engagement, and I don't have to pay attention to it because it's the same argument every time.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah,
post
I mean,
it and walk away.
At some point, one team's just inherently better than the other, and it's not
It
that the other
happens.
team's bad. They're just not as good.
Yeah. It comes for us all. All right,
Exactly.
so small school. There's
Yep.
Trape. Maybe.
Yep.
Wait, so Yarmouth? No, maybe it was Telstar who had. Yeah, it was Telstar who had.
Yeah, Telstar was against Mount View. Yeah, I remember
was the
hearing about
86
that.
nothing. Okay.
And somebody emailed us and said, or it was either on Facebook or email, but they were like, oh, like if you guys want to do a story, that was the most points ever scored in an 8-man game, which that's from a viewer. That's not from my mouth, so that's absolutely not verified. But the comment was made that was the most ever scored in an 8-man game.
Really?
So that would be something interesting to dig into.
I thought Oler
apparently not. Again, I this is me spreading a rumor, so I have not verified. But yeah, I remember seeing OB at playoffs last year, and they were really, really good. And they had Brady Plante. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to say his last name, but did he? I think he graduated though.
I'm gonna get crucified for this if I get it wrong. I think you're right.
To put you on the spot. I think he was a senior.
I think you're right. I can already hear the emails coming in.
You're actually losing subscribers by having me on your pod.
Yeah. People are like, he doesn't know. He can't keep track of every single team.
Yeah. You know, I'm pulling for my team Mount View. I think they're gonna. I'm not.
They're gonna turn it around.
They're going to get one win, and that's going to be bigger than, Old Orchard's 5. So
hey, Mount View is still the Mount View guys. I know some of the Mount View guys, and they are going to be living off that tourney run where they went to the state game as the 7 seed for the next 10 years. They're fine. They're good. They are.
No, they're chilling.
They are loving every minute of that, and they're good. Old Orchard Beach actually hosts Lake Region this week, which is an interesting matchup.
Which that feels like the makings of a game of the week. That'll be a good one.
Could be up there. Could be up there.
Yeah. I mean,
I keep meaning to get to one of their games.
Mm-hmm. Telstar's always an interesting game for us. It's always. I mean, they're always. I feel like the coach is always calling us. Devin Roberts, right? I think he's always, has some glowing score that they've done. So they're pretty successful usually. And which is interesting because I know Telstar doesn't really excel for compared to a lot of our other schools, but football, they seem to really, really be good.
That's their thing.
Yeah.
Every school's got their thing.
Everyone has their thing. And
for some
not
schools,
usually more than one.
For some schools, it's drama.
Right.
But for some schools, it's a sport. And, some schools, they have a really good, Camden has a really good mountain biking team, and they've won like 27 state championships. And I always ask, is anybody else competing in this? Is it just you guys? Is it like you guys and like one other school, and you're just trading championships back and forth?
Right.
And no one has denied that. So I'm going with it. I think that's what's happening there. But they're also good in basketball, so.
An award's an award.
An award's an award. You can hang the banner.
Like I'm breaking my neck, so I'm impressed.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. All right. Do you want to make any outlandish predictions for the rest of the football season that will definitely get put on a bulletin board and come back to haunt you?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna think before I speak.
Okay.
Something I don't always do. Okay, my outlandish. Okay, kind of goes hand in hand with the story at Loose that I'm working on, but they have a couple guys first time ever seeing or playing American football. Oh, cool. I think we're getting pretty close to them popping off. So that might be my hot take is, I was out of practice. They've got the athleticism. They're getting the terminology down. They might be 0-5 right now, but I see them kind of having a resurgence and at least getting a few wins. I'm not going to say playoffs, but I'm going to say Like all of a sudden we're gonna be like, wait, who are these guys? What's going
Where did
on?
these guys come from? Yeah, I like
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. Yep. So
I
that's
like
probably
it.
my hot take.
So that'll be a fun story to look forward to because that
Exactly.
sounds
A
great.
little snippet of something going on there. But yeah, I love
I
when
like it.
kind of sneaks their way in mid-season and you're like, wait a minute, like where did you come from? Where have you been?
There was a kid on Camden who it was the game I saw was his second ever football game, and it was a big dude. He was like 6'5", like
Yeah.
and big, like a defensive lineman. They're like, "Oh yeah, he played soccer last year." I'm like, "That's a big soccer player."
He is jacked to be playing soccer. I usually think there's tiny, scrawny people. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So
And that, that, so I was just going to say that reminds me too. I know Wells, Tim Roche was saying that their quarterback it was his first season ever playing too. And that guy had an arm on him.
wow.
I was like, dang, watching some of his throws. But yeah, I guess the guy that they kind of were going to have in was like, nah, I'm going to pursue other stuff instead. And this guy, Noah McDonough was like, sick, I'll play quarterback. And, rest is history.
I'll be the big man on
touchdown
campus.
passes left and right. So
Cool. All right. So one more question for you. But before I ask you that, where can people find your stuff? Sun Journal, obviously.
Sun Journal, Varsity Maine, Maine Trust for Local News. We're kind of one big company, so we have our separate papers. But if you go to Press Herald, Central Maine, Sun Journal, you can find all of our work there. And then I will plug varsity.maine on Instagram. That's where we post a lot of our video content, and we'll do a lot of like highlight reels and fun interviews post game. So you'll get some of that too if you're more of a watcher than a reader.
Cool. All right. So this is the question I ask everyone, but you probably aren't prepped to it because you just listened to people who had already been on the show before. And so they'd already answered the question like 2 years ago. Okay. So here's the scenario. The MPA comes to you and they go, okay, we're putting you in charge for 1 day. You have unlimited authority and power. You can do whatever you want. It will be implemented. What is the thing you choose?
Oh my God. Wow. First off, you've made a mistake if I'm in charge. But I think I'm going in. I'm going into winter ice hockey and I'm breaking up every co-op. Why do we have 10 schools co-opt? That's unreasonable. Why are we driving through 3 towns? And, you're seeing, I think one of our reporters was saying we're down to like 28 teams total. Why do we have so many co-ops? I want to see, Winslow as its own team. I want to see Lewiston as its own team. Co-ops cease to exist in hockey, and we bring the sport back.
Interesting. How do these teams then have enough players?
See, that's probably why they're co-ops. So we're going to recruit people. We're going to get them on the
part
ice.
of your power is like you are playing hockey.
Right, exactly.
You
are actually not skiing. You're going to go on the ice. You're going to play.
Maybe they play 3-on-3.
Even better. See,
something like that.
8-man equivalent of hockey. Also
I like it. I like it. That's a new one. No one's picked that one yet.
There we go.
And I've had some outlandish ones. So,
very
nice.
I would love to see ice hockey. It's such an unfamiliar sport to me, but I love seeing them shove each other into the wall and really just, even the girls too. I mean, I didn't expect the girls to be as physical as the guys, but some of those games I went to, I was like, you guys are more aggressive. Like, that'd be great for anger management to just absolutely deck somebody against the boards. And obviously they're, not playing for that reason alone.
From watching JV girls basketball, you would expect them to bang into each other and throw each other against the wall because that's what they're doing there.
Right. This is true.
This is
true. And who said the girls' game isn't as physical? It's sometimes more.
It's more chaotic sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
It's harder to do stats for, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. For
Sunjournal.com and Varsity Maine and all that.
Yes. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Haley, so much for joining me. That was a lot of fun. And that's pretty much going to be the show. No movie corner this week. Bring that back next week. Thanks to Haley for of the Sun Journal. You can read her at the Sun Journal. Thanks again to Vertical Raise for sponsoring this podcast, because you're going to need to raise some money. Probably a month ago. You probably needed to raise money several weeks ago, and you're just getting around to it. So give Vertical Raise on the phone, get them in there to help you raise money. You won't regret it. Okay. This has been a production of MaineBasketballRankings.com, your source for the most comprehensive coverage of Maine high school basketball from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts and a bunch of places you don't. If you enjoy this, please leave a nice review because it really does help out with the algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thanks for listening.